Students, welcome to this session on methodology of teaching English. Today we will be dealing with the topic reading. Reading happens inside the learner's brain. Among the four skills of language, reading is given maximum attention. Reading comes after oral practice. Let us first look into alphabetic method of teaching reading. Alphabetic method is the traditional method of teaching how to read. Here all the letters, that is from A to Z, are taught first. Gradually students will be taught how to read words. It is done by saying the letters in a word first and then asking the students to read the word together. Take for example D-O-G. This is dog. C-A-T. This is cat. So in order to teach the words dog and cat, the teacher emphasized the letters D, O and G first and then asked the students to repeat dog. Introduce C, A and T first and then ask the students to say cat. So this was the traditional method of teaching how to read. But this method is proved to be unscientific because the same letter may stand for different sounds. For example, the letter S. The letter S may be articulated in different ways like music, pleasure, ship and so on. The same letter is there in the spelling, but when you pronounce the same letter S would be pronounced in different ways. So that is why people are not entertaining alphabetic method today. And in certain other cases, some letters are not pronounced loudly. Take for example the word honest. Here the letter H is silent. So nowadays linguists prefer the phonic method. There are different methods to teach reading skills. Here is a list of such methods: phonic method, phonetic method, look and say method, word method, sentence method and story method. Phonic method. In phonic method, the word is read in its constituent phonemes. For example, take the word bat. It is read as B, A, T, not as B, A, T as we do in the old alphabetic method. By using phonic method, the children become familiar with the sounds at a very early stage itself, and they understand that in speech, phonemes, the sounds, constitute meaningful words. So initially 44 speech sounds and their symbols are taught. Several reading practices are done because language assumes a phonic nature. Afterwards, the phonic scripts are converted to normal script, that is A to Z. If you just surf in the YouTube or in Google, you will find many phonic rhymes. So it introduces the phonemes, the speech sounds at a very early age, and instead of teaching BAT, bat, students are being taught B, A and T. So they get familiarized with the phonemes at a very early stage and it's easy for them to learn proper pronunciation. And now look at phonetic method. So you should know what a phoneme is. Phoneme is the smallest part of speech, and the letters are taught by the sounds they represent, and words are read by joining these sounds, more or less the same. Look and say method. This is something which teachers frequently used in nursery classrooms. They may bring an object or a picture to the class and ask the children to look at that carefully. And then the children would look at the word or the sentence carefully, and the teacher would say what it is, and children are asked to repeat it. Word method. Word is revised orally to make sure that everybody knows its meaning. The sound of the word is drilled by the teacher orally. The teacher would either write the word on a blackboard or show a card on which the word is legibly written. So the word is read and is split into components. So in nursery textbooks you might have seen sight words. Sight words are small words which are frequently found as you read a text, like the, is, am, are, and, but, she, he, is, you, so, if, no, or, this, and so on. So children would be asked to spell these sight words and read them frequently so that they can learn it easily. So this is also a good method, an effective method to get the children familiarized with the frequently used words. Sentence method. After the introduction of words, a sentence pattern is slowly introduced. It is described in a simple way and repeated practices given. For example, take the sentence, the boys are playing in the ground. In the sentence method, the unit of reading is a complete sentence, as in the acquisition of the mother tongue. By this method, the learner gets a complete, meaningful sentence. But reading the whole sentence at a stretch will pose problems. So you can focus on the constituent elements of a sentence, that is, the words, and then gradually introduce sentence patterns. And now, story method. A simple, interesting story which has the scope of repeating the words that are to be learned. It is selected by a teacher. And teacher tells the story and the students should try to repeat it. The teacher may use cardboards, blackboards, cards, pictures, and so on to implement this method. So a paragraph would be the unit of reading in a story method. Reading aloud. It's an effective practice. It helps the students to read a given material loudly, with confidence, and with precision. Students will be given sentences that are totally unfamiliar to them, which means sentences which they have never spoken before. But the vocabulary in the given sentence will be according to the student's level. So this is the early step of teaching how to read. Nowadays in mobile phones, you have an app in Google which is called Reading Along. Here you can find some sample sentences given to the learner. Then the child may sit with the parent and try to read out loudly the small sentences given there. When the child reads the words correctly, it is appreciated, and if the child goes wrong, then the rectification is given through the app itself. So reading aloud is thus good practice. A sample reading is given by the teacher and prompts the students and corrects the students to make their reading effective. Reading loudly would help to correct their pronunciation, stress, rhythm, intonation, pause, and speed. It helps in developing the art of oral reading, giving proper expression and feeling. The classroom is the best place to undertake oral reading loudly. Silent reading. This type of reading gives more importance to thought. Readers are here not at all worried about the mistakes or the method of articulation. And while reading, the thought process should not be diversified. So this automatically saves your time and others are also not disturbed if you practice silent reading. And it would keep or engage the whole class active. You can ask them to read a given paragraph silently and everybody will be immersed in that work. It enables the learners to work to read at their own speed. Silent reading. Silent reading enables us to use two different techniques. They are namely skimming and scanning. Skimming is a technique of reading to get the gist or the central idea of a given text. For example, you try to read a newspaper to get a general overview about an issue, or you read an article to get an overall understanding about a subject. This is an example of skimming. And silent reading also enables us to do scanning. Scanning means glancing rapidly to get a specific piece of information. For example, you scan a dictionary to get a particular word meaning, or you scan a telephone directory to get a particular phone number, or you may even scan a wedding invitation card to see who's getting married and on what date. So these are two techniques of reading which is possible while you do silent reading. Two other techniques of reading are intensive reading and extensive reading. Intensive reading means reading thoroughly for details to get each and every information. For example, you prepare for an examination or you prepare for an interview. You do intensive reading, serious reading without missing any facts. And extensive reading is reading for pleasure. You sit back in a relaxed posture and you read a fictional work or a magazine. You may just skip through pages very fast. It's meant only for entertainment. You're not trying to learn anything by heart. One has to be very cautious while reading. Teachers also should be very cautious about a few things, like students should not vocalize any part. Some students have the habit of sub-vocalizing. That means kind of murmuring while they read through silently. And they should not even try to memorize blindly whatever comes on the page. And they should not point the finger along the line, and make sure that the students are sitting in a convenient posture, and the book should be kept at a convenient distance from the eyes. It shouldn't be too close, it shouldn't be too far, and reading should not be disturbed by any interpretation or any sort of interruption. Rapid silent reading. Here children would keep their books open and follow the speed at which the teacher reads. They should pick out the particular words or phrases just as they do while skimming. And the major actions in the given passage can be shown using flashcards so that children would understand. And after reading, the teacher has to frame objective type questions and it should be given to the students, and students should try to answer these comprehension questions after reading carefully. Learners are made to read the text first. Questions are given only afterwards. The one who answers first is given a reward. It helps to find out the missing words from the given passage as well. So teacher can ask the students to find out the missing words from the given passage. And silent reading or rapid silent reading definitely helps in preparing the students for their future library readings. So library is a place where they can go and gather information, and for that they need to learn how to read silently, and that too a rapid silent reading. It should be practiced at a very early age. Early comprehension exercise. Comprehension is the art of understanding. It refers to the ability of our mind to do cognitive or intellectual exercises. At an early stage, the learners should try to get a casual information or a rough idea about the material that they have read. And these early exercises would help them in analyzing the students, help the teacher in analyzing the students' ability to understand. So in younger classes itself, smaller classes itself, teachers would be giving you comprehension exercises, and it enables the students to understand the given material and answer the questions accordingly.